Hi everybody, it's Mitch from Hard Intentions YouTube channel, and a lot of you may know we also have Hard Intentions website where we sell merchandise like this shirt and other shirts. Soon to have hats, and Louis Max comes around with our hats. Anyways, we also have stuff on this Teespring down here, leggings and other stuff, masks, our backup lame shirts. So check it out. You might find something on there you like. I kind of got sidetracked, but I was talking about, being found suitable for parole. And, it was a very happy day, the day I got found suitable. And it was unexpected. And, I mean, I felt like I earned it because I didn't just go through the programs and, get a little piece of paper saying I participated in anger management, family relations, substance abuse, or all the other. I think there was 6 different programs that we went through. I didn't just get a piece of paper saying that I participated in them. I actually participated in them, and there were guys that went through those programs that all they wanted was the paperwork, and they thought for sure, hey, I get this paperwork saying I was in the program, I'm going to get out. And I used to tell them, man, you're not going to get out. Just because you go through this program, if you don't learn something from this program, the board's going to know, and they're not going to find you suitable. And sure enough, man, there were guys in my group that, we'd be talking about specific issues that I thought were like critical issues that guys needed to know what was being said, what the substance of the issue was, and get down to the heart of what was being talked about, and they were just like not having it, and yeah, they were just not having it. They were just like, hey, I got it down. And I try to help some of these cats, man. Some of them were black dudes, some were Hispanic, Chicano, whatever. Some were white, and they would let me know, hey, I got this, I got this, I got this. And, when I got found suitable, a lot of those guys went to board and got found unsuitable. And then I would hear rumors like they would say, I don't know how that motherfucker got found suitable. Same dudes that I was trying to help in group. So, I learned what the groups were all about. And I took it in and digested what I could. And, when you go through a program, not everything you learn is applicable to you. So I took in what was applicable to me, things that I felt like I could apply in my daily life in prison and out. And the other stuff, I just kind of, I check everything out, and I take in what I want to take in. And to me, that's how life is, your daily life, you do things and you experience things that are good for you, and some things aren't. Excuse me. Anyways, it was a pretty happy day for me. I went back to the yard, told a few people, hey, I got found suitable, and I remember going to this old dude's cell. He was like 74, I think. He'd been down 40-something years. He was an old biker, he used to be in a bike club back in the day, and he threw some bodies in a well somewhere up north by Ukiah. And anyways, I told him, I got found suitable, man. And he said, man, I knew it, But prior to that, he would clown me and say, you better get ready to just spend the rest of your days here with me, And I told him, hey, man, you're next. And he'd say, they're never going to let me out. I'm too many of this and too many of that. And sure enough, he got out a few years later, too. But, I was, I was happy. But here comes the kicker. You have 120 days for the full parole board. I think it's 9 members to review your case, and they can take your day. They can reverse the decision and say, you're suitable, you're not suitable. And then it has 30 days to go in front of the governor. So you have 150 days to wait, and it's pretty nerve-wracking. So I didn't want to convince myself that I was going home, but on the other hand, I told myself, hey, you earned this. You're going to go home. and I kind of prepared for it as best I could. Um, I wasn't going back to San Diego, where I'm from, because of the victim's family and all that stuff. I didn't want to put them through any grief, and they didn't want me around, so I didn't even want to challenge that. I went to Los Angeles, and those are my parole plans, to go to Los Angeles, and so I didn't know, you know, like I used to tell these kids, man. I go, you make all these plans for when you get out, but when you get out, you're probably not going to do any of the things you talked about doing. And I would run that through my head. Now, I'm a cabinet maker and a plumber, but I'm really a little too old to be bending over doing plumbing, and cabinet making. Is it's kind of a they have a lot of shops that they sell prefab cabinets made in China. They have a lot of shops using the illegal help. Especially in Los Angeles, which I did discover firsthand. And they have a lot of guys that do, making cabinets out of the garage for people, man, for cutthroat prices. So I didn't know if I was going to be able to do any of that stuff when I got out. So I did want to do my T-shirts and sell art, and so that's kind of what I focused on. I kept doing my art, and I kept doing T-shirt patterns, and I finished my group right before the board, so I didn't have group anymore. So I had my job, in the laundry, and I ended up quitting that, and I got a job on the yard crew so I could focus on my art. And I kept going to mass, and I go out to the yard and I kick it with my friend David, who recently got found suitable, and then came down with COVID-19. He got sent over to the East Yard for a quarantine. I'd hang out with him and a couple other guys that were like motorcycle guys, bikers. One dude was in a bike club out of Sac, and I'd just talk to him. Be like, hey man, what about this? What about that? I would ask a lot of questions, about everything, about work. How do I get my driver's license? How do I get my ID? Where do I go to get my social security card? All that kind of shit, man. I did have my birth certificate available to me, so I knew that was going to help me. And I started asking about like the state-run programs like Health Right 360 and these other state-run transitional housing. And basically what I'm learning is that they're basically community prisons. You have to ask permission to leave. You have to have a reason to leave. I mean, they restrict your movement. You can't have a phone for 30 days. It's just, I'm thinking, hey, man, I just did 38 years. I don't want to go to a community prison. So I was trying to go to the Francisco House, which is run by Sister Teresa. They have 5 houses, and it's all lifers and long-term offenders. So, I didn't really change my program. I still got up in the morning, went to chow. Basically, I had a job where I didn't have to report. I'd go out the yard and show my face and wave, and that was it. And they knew I was waiting to go home, so they didn't sweat me. And they'd come by my cell and check out my artwork, and they liked that. So they didn't sweat me. Guys would clown me. Other guys would ask me questions about the program, about the board. We talked. I had a lot of anxiety, really. I was waiting on that review from the board, and I thought, man, I just hope they don't take my day, because I had a lot of write-ups, and my last write-up was for the tobacco. It was 6 years old, and so after about, I don't know, a couple of months, I got called over to the program office, and I spoke about this. The guy who I thought was my dad. I wrote him a letter, and I said, hey, look, I'm getting out. Just want to let you know, and life's going to be a challenge, and I told him, hey, if you want to help me, that's fine. If you don't want to help me, that's fine too. I'll make it. I just want to let you know I'm getting out. And I thought the guy would be happy for me. Looking back now, I think he knew that he was not my father, my natural father. and maybe that's why that breakup between him and my mom was so severe. Um, so I get called over the program office, about 60 days after I wrote that letter, and there's a sergeant there, and he says, we got an order for no contact, and I'm thinking, what the hell, I think it's a victim's family or something. Turns out it was this guy that I thought was my dad. Um, he sent a copy of the letter to the prison and told me he didn't want to have any contact with me. And so the sergeant's like, is this a family member? I asked my dad, and he just goes, wow. He just shook his head like, wow. And he says, you're not to call him, you're not to write him, you're not to go see him, period. I said, that's not a problem. And I just thought that was kind of crazy. And I thought that he did it like to possibly prevent me from getting out. Because Sergeant told me, we read the letter, and it's been deemed normal contact. So basically, he sent them the letter and told them, he didn't want any contact with me. But I told a couple of my friends on the yard that, and they were just like, wow, that's fucking crazy. And, they had brought some guys prior to my board hearing. They brought some guys from the SHU who've been in the SHU for, 30-something years. They brought them to the yard. And my homeboy was in High Desert, man. And he came and told me, he says, hey, look, man, there's a cop here I knew in High Desert. And you got to remember, this is a place that has programs. They had the long-term offender program. They got psych programs. They got college. They got trades. They got everything there. It's one of the last prisons that like function pretty smooth. There's not a lot of violence. It's pretty kicked back. You got a key to your own cell, and come and go as you please, pretty much. And this cop told my friend, hey, look, man, if I was you, I'd get the fuck out of here over the next year. And he's like, why? And he says, well, they want to fuck this place up. They want to flood it with gang members, and they want problems here so they can lock it down and change the program here. It's a new wave of staff, administrators out of Sacramento and upper echelon in the prisons. They didn't like the fact that prison functions smooth because they don't get overtime, they don't get extra money for security shit, And so this cop told him, he says, hey, man, I would get out of here if I were you. It's going to get bad here. And, I started noticing it. He told me that prior to my board hearing. And I started noticing, man, that more and more guys are coming in that were like fuck ups, like didn't give a fuck. There was more and more dope on the yard, more and more, people in debt. People spun out on speed, people nodding on the yard on heroin. It was getting kind of crazy. It wasn't just like, hey, I'm cool, I'm in a kickback spot, and I'm waiting to get out. It was more like, hey, fuck it. It was more like a level 3, level 4 style mentality was coming in, and then there was a lot of gang members coming in, and but the guys they brought from the Bay, they were cool. They were Hispanic prison gang guys, and I used to chat with them, pretty much every day. How you doing? Kick it with them. And one of them told me, he's an older man. He was 72. He still do his burpees and push-ups and all that shit. He's a pretty cool dude. They kind of screwed him. We had Prop 36. He went out to court, and they denied him and shit. But he told me, hey, the problem with getting out is when you get out, you only remember the good times from when you were in prison. You don't remember how fucked up it really was. And I said, hey, bro, I don't have any problem remembering how fucked up it is in here. And he laughed, he says, yeah, that's right, And yeah, but there was a lot of anxiety, because it took me 38 years to figure out how to live the way I was living, in there, comfortable, with my art, with my job, with myself, Like I said, for a long time, I come to terms with the fact that I will probably never get out of prison, and so now here I am faced with the fact that I might get out of prison, and it was difficult, man. I took a lot of self-reflection, and I've always been able to see the bullshit in people, man, and the bullshit in the prison yards and the politics, and I wasn't gonna miss that, you know. But you know, you're faced with the fact that you're gonna have to get your own medical. You're gonna have to get a job. You're gonna have to pay rent. You're gonna have to pay bills. You're gonna have to be responsible on a whole nother level. It was quite a deal, you know. It was stressful, and you know, and there are guys in there that want to see you get out, and there were also guys in there that don't want to see you get out, and they would talk smack, you know. But so after 100, I don't know, 18 days or something like that, they called me back over to the program office. It's on a Thursday. And now it's a captain. He's on the phone, and he goes, "Hey, I gotta talk to you about a cease contact order." And I said, "Well, it's just you know." I said my dad's name. The guy thought it was my dad. And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "I've already been told." He says, "Well, now he's contacted the warden's office, and I'm doing the review." So he wasn't satisfied with the response he got the first time. So now he's contacted the warden, sent him the letter. I wrote a copy. I guess he had copied it. And so this captain's telling me, "Hey, you know, cease contact, no letters, phone calls, visits." I said, "Hey, it's not a problem." You know, I thought, wow, this guy's really trying to keep me from getting out. What an asshole, you know. And he really is an asshole. Then I went back to my cell, and I thought, man, that dude, you know, it's fucked up. You know, I'm getting closer to getting out, man, and this dude's trying to stop me from getting out. I talked to my friends about it, and they were like, "Man, what a prick," you know. I mean, if he doesn't want to have any contact with me, that's fine, but he doesn't have to fucking try to stop me from getting out, you know. And so that was a Thursday. So Friday, you know, I get called over, and I'm thinking, fuck, what is it this time, you know? And they go, "Hey, you're going home next Friday." So I was like, wow. So I did 122 days there, yeah, after my board hearing, and I got out. But so now I got a week to go, and I'm just like, fuck, man, I'm getting there. I start packing my shit, and you know, I'm tightening up, you know, going to see guys, sick call and whatnot, saying my goodbyes, and, you know, writing some letters, and I actually wrote to Adrian. I said, well, actually, I wrote to my daughter, our daughter, and I said, "Hey, you know, I'm getting out," and she didn't open the letter because I told her I was going to board, and she read that letter, and then she didn't read the letter that I told her, "Hey, I'm getting out," you know, and she just kind of threw it on her coffee table, and for a couple of months, you know, and so right before I get ready to get out, she opens the letter up and reads it, and says, "I'm getting out," you know, and so she calls my wife, you know, her mom, and she goes, "Hey, are you sitting down?" And she goes, "Why? What's up?" She goes, "You better sit down." And so she's like, "You know, what's happening?" She goes, "You know, Mitch is getting out," and so then that was like just a few weeks before I got out, and you know, mail takes forever, so I got the letter from her like within a week or two before I got out. She wrote me a letter right away, and I got her email address, and she's like, "Hey, anything you need, whatever, just contact me." She lived in the San Jose area, and I was prone to LA, and yeah, that was cool. So I had that, and that last week, you know, I was just about you know, go out the same shit, go out to the night yard, eat a bag of popcorn, drink a soda, you know, get a pint of ice cream, walk laps, and then on a Sunday following that Friday that they told me, you know, I went over to church, went to mass, said goodbye to a bunch of people, and then I split and I went back to the yard as soon as mass was over. A lot of guys hang out, you know. You got to remember, I don't know what's going on in the yard. I don't give a fuck. I don't use drugs. I don't sell drugs. I'm not in the mix, and so I go to the yard, man, and normally I could go in the building, say, "Hey, whoop," you know, and I walk down the tier, go to my cell, crack my door, and go in. No big deal. Cops know who I am. They know I'm not a fucking problem. They know I'm not going to be hanging out on the tier. And, Yeah, the grill gate was shut, and the cop told me, wait till they unlock. They do unlocks like every hour or so. I thought, wow, I'm not gonna argue with the fucking dude, So I go back out to the yard, and I thought, man, the fucking yard's weird. So I walk a lap, and I go around, and next thing I know, man, these dudes are fighting. Black dudes, white dudes, then more black dudes and more white dudes. And I'm walking, I'm thinking, fuck, man, we're having a riot. And all these black dudes are running towards this where the white dudes are working out. And they're running right by me. I mean, I'm standing there. I mean, if it's a black on white riot, I'm right there. They're running past me. And I'm kind of braced up, and I'm thinking, what the fuck, man? And now I'm kind of by the track. I'm looking at the cops, and they're right there. They're not shooting tear gas. They're not spraying anybody, nothing. They're just letting it happen. And I thought, motherfucker, man, I'm going home in 5 days, And but none of these dudes are jumping on me. None of these dudes are touching me. They're getting busy with these younger cats that all of them owe money to every race on the yard, all the Dauphine cats. And then the next thing you know, guys are yelling from the building, hey, they jumped on a homie. So evidently they were mobbing up and down the tiers, yanking doors open and jumping on guys in their cells, catching guys in the tier that were in the shower, the TV room, and jumping on them, and they jumped on one of the Southsiders. So now the Southsiders are involved. It was a fucking nightmare, man. And I just stood there, and then I was on the track, so I said, fuck it, man. I just sat my ass down. I had a homeboy that was right next to me from San Diego. He goes, hey, fuck it, sit down, bro. You're going home. And I sat down, and the shit went on for quite a while. But, you got to remember, a riot that lasts a minute seems like, 10 minutes. And the whole fucking yard was just, in other prisons, man, they shoot tear gas bombs. They got cops, a CERT team, whatever. They're on the yard within minutes, spraying everybody that's moving with tear gas, pepper spray. They got a big giant tear gas canister on a rifle that shoots tear gas, pepper spray shit. They're on it. These guys just sat there and watched it happen till it was over. And finally they waited, till there was a gang of cops there, and it came, everyone was basically tired and wore out from fighting and stabbing and shit. And I found out later a couple guys died from stab wounds. About 8 dudes got stabbed. It was ugly. It was a very ugly deal. And you got to remember, man, that whites in that yard were outnumbered probably, not exaggerating, 12 or 15 to 1. So, I mean, they were pretty thin. So what they did was they made everybody who was on that yard, even if you were on the phone, somewhere you weren't involved, they took everybody to the hole. They have a bunch of walk-alone cages, and they put like 15 dudes in each walk-alone cage. I'm thinking, motherfucker, dude. I wasn't even involved in this shit, and I'm going home in 5 days. And some of these other white dudes, the white dude, my homeboy, another cat that was on the phone, he's like, dude, I wasn't even involved in this shit. I go, yeah, neither was I. And if I get a write-up for this, I'm fucked. Because I'm going home Friday. They're going to put us in the hole, give you a 115. They can drag that on for 90 days. And if you got a 115, they're not letting you out. They're going to take your fucking release date, So a sergeant walks by. Hey, I'm going home 5 days. Blah, blah, blah. Wasn't involved. Did 38 years. Yeah, good luck. Lieutenant walked by. Hey, Lieutenant, got a minute? This is like 11 o'clock in the morning, when this happened. Now it's, evening. Now it's like 3, 4, 5. Now it's like 7, 8. Now 9, 10. Finally, like 11, 12 o'clock at night, man. This is a third lieutenant. I pull him over. Hey, he's a Mexican cat, gray hair. His name was Silva. I go, hey, look, man, I wasn't involved in this fucking shit. I just came back from Mass. I'm going home in 5 days. I did 38 years. And, if I go to the fucking hole, I'm through. They're going to take my date. And he goes, took my name, blah, blah, blah. He said, who else was around you? I said, this guy and this guy. He goes, all right, I'll check it out. And then this cop Vivian walks by. He was my fucking building cop when I was on the West Yard. He worked the third watch shift. He was a night shift in a dorm. And he's a pretty decent guy. He rode a motorcycle and all that kind of shit. And I go, hey, Vivian, come here, man. I told him the story. And I said, look, man, if I go to the hole for this, I'm fucked. He goes, well, if that lieutenant said he would check it out, he'll check it out. His word's good. He's a decent guy. I said, can you go co-sign me with him? He goes, I'll talk to him. And now they're saying there's not enough room in the hole for everybody. So they start bringing buses on the yard. They're going to take people to Delano, Corcoran, Wasco, Ad Seg, because they don't have enough room in the hole here for everybody. And now they're loading dudes onto the buses. I go, fuck, man. That's ugly. Once you're in another prison, there goes your property. Your write-up's going to take longer. The investigation's going to take longer. I'm thinking, man, I'm fucked. And then here comes another cop walks by. He was some white kid. His, family worked there. He just kind of inherited the job as a CO because, it's family. That's their business, working in prisons. Anyway, he was also a building cop over there on the West Yard. And I go, hey, man, check it out. Blah, blah, blah. I ran him the story. He says, oh, I'll talk to that lieutenant, Now it's like midnight, 1, 2, 3. I'm thinking, fuck, man. I'm fucked. And, I'm just thinking, hey, fuck it, dude. If they take my day, I'm really done. Then the whole, I'm never getting out thing, it's really going to be a reality. So I'm going from you're going home in 5 days to I'm going to get a write-up for participating in a fucking riot. And they told us all we're all getting write-ups for participating in a riot. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm fucked. 4:30 in the morning, here comes Vivian. He goes, hey, Smiley, come here. I go, what's up? He goes, get them other 2 cats. I go, what's up? Because you're going back to your cell. So them 2 dudes that I told that lieutenant were sitting by me and myself got escorted back to my cell, and they went off to their cells. And they're like, hey, Smiley, thank you, man, for getting me out of that. I go, fuck, I didn't do nothing, thank that lieutenant. But, and you don't know what a fucking miracle that was. Because, look, I talked to 2 other lieutenants and a sergeant, and they're like, yeah, good luck with that shit, pal. Sorry about your luck. That's their mentality. So, yeah, I went back to my cell, man, and just counted my blessings, man. And I would just praying to the man up above, man, giving thanks. For real. It was a miracle. I should have been sitting my ass in Corcoran or Delano Hall with a 115 for participating in a riot, and that dude took my word for what I said, checked it out, and let me out of the hole. And so I paroled from the lockdown. I packed all my shit. You get controlled showers once every 3 days, controlled feeding. The way that prison's set up, they wouldn't do self-feeding. They would send the whites to chow, then the blacks to chow, then the, others, and then Southsiders. Each race would go to chow on their own. And then, of course, you get information from guys, what have you heard? What have you heard? And we heard a couple guys died, they got stabbed, and a few guys got stabbed up that didn't die, and a lot of dudes got the fucking shit beat out of them bad. And yeah, it was pretty bad. They tied the grill gates shut or open, I can't remember. I think open, so they could mob up and down the tiers. It was ugly. It was a planned deal, yeah, and that was basically over drugs, money, and who's going to control what and who's going to pay who and who ain't getting paid and all that shit. That's what that whole riot was all about. It was a little power trip, over drugs. Drugs suck, dude. That's, that's the reality of it. That riot almost cost me my freedom. And so, that Friday come rolling around, dude. I tried to sleep that night, and it wasn't happening, I just laid there. I'd give my radio, my TV away, and so I had no entertainment. Excuse me. I was just up and down, all night. And finally, I told the cop, hey, I'm supposed to leave today. And they're like, well, we don't know nothing about it. And finally, the second watch come around, the morning crew. And so get a car, load all my shit. How come your shit's not in R&R? Usually you send your property over to R&R for your leave. I had a bunch of shit. I did take my art supplies home, which consisted of most of my property. And I went over to R&R with my shit, man. And I just wore my yard shorts, and I had a T-shirt I think I got sent in, and my flip-flops out. Yeah. And it's quite a day. I sat in R&R for a minute. Then we walk out to the lobby, and the lobby is like, there's the front gate. That's where the visitors come in and wait to get processed. I'm seeing free staff coming in and out, and the little yard cop, Buffalo, man, little female. She can't be more than 5 feet tall, man. Her and another yard cop came over said, hey, see you later, have a good life. And I thought that was pretty cool, And so I went on out to the parking lot, and there it was, there was my mom waiting in a van. And then that's when my mom's state kind of hit me. My mom's car, my mom had sold her house, and she was in the process of moving. She was going to go to Las Vegas and look for a house. Her van was full of shit, and I mean just shit, just crap. I go, what about my fucking property? And she goes, oh, I didn't even think about that. And I told her, look, I'm paroling with my shit, my art supplies. And this cop was looking at her van going, fuck, man, it looked like a hoarder car, like a hoarder house, only a minivan. And so I had to clear out, all the shit in her van, make room for my property and my art and stuff. And that was off to first meal. Went to Whole Foods. I had quiche and fried potatoes, juice. Man, it was cool. And we proceeded down the 101 to LA. And next time I get back on this channel, we'll talk about the rest of that story. Thank you very much for watching. And it's been a hell of a ride on this YouTube channel, man. I mean, I basically took you from my childhood up to my release from prison, and it's been a rough journey. Hasn't always been easy, especially the prison part, and especially childhood was fucked up. But I'm out now, man. I got all you people who watch this channel and support our our business and our channel and everything. I just want to thank you all, and I hope I can continue with some stories that you find enlightening and entertaining. And you know what? Just remember, man, it was a hard struggle for me to get out of prison. So whatever it is you're fucking facing out here in the world, if it's hard, keep at it. The rewards are going to be great. They were for me. Whatever it is you do, do it hard. Thank you.